Hey, welcome to the second course for the track Lane Boy from 21 Pilots' album Blurryface from 21 Pilots' album Blurryface. I'm musically malnourished. You're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. This is where we burp. Sorry, excuse me. This is where we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So let's hop over and go ahead and give this one a look. I think let's do it this way. Boom shakalaka widescreen. It says Lane Boy was released on May 3rd, 2015 as the fourth single off 21 Pilots' Blurryface. The song's lyrics follow a theme common to the rest of the album, the band's musical integrity. It's ultimately a song about the tension inherent in being a commercial artist. Promotion, because if you sell records, you have to risk being labeled a sellout. Lane Boy explores that tension. Tyler Joseph opened up to alternative press about the song and its background. He said, I describe Lane Boy as the moment where I broke character, saying things that weren't necessarily artistic or beautiful, but exactly what I wanted to say and exactly what I was feeling. I broke character and became a frustrated human. For a moment, I don't imagine needing to say things like that anymore. I remember showing that song to some people and they said, I don't think you want to say that. And Josh said to me, let's say it. Let's go, my boy, Josh. He don't care. Let's say it. Listen, that is what made people love 21 Pilots. And it makes sense why the one person commented on Stressed Out and said it made them a little afraid when the song got so big, because there is this fear of like, oh my gosh, are we going to lose what we loved so much about 21 Pilots? Their unique flavor and Tyler rapping the way that he likes to rap. And especially it was interesting, and we'll get to the lyrics in a second, when he talks about how he really only feels free on stage. Because even in the stuff that we've seen up to this point, the live versions they're not wildly different at all, but they're different, and how he wants to say it and express it and sing it. And if he wants the crowd to sing, or if he wants to sing, or if he wants to rap it just in a different way, or scream in a different part. And so you see that's where he's most free. And so let's see what else it says. For us, music has always been about transparency. For me, Lane Boy is that song on the record that you kind of break that fourth wall. You can look into what it's like to really be a normal person in our position. The men represent those who wish to control the band or put limits on their creativity. Tyler Joseph spoke about this during Lollapalooza. Throughout the video, I'm kind of obeying them, the men, by bending down and listening to them and being almost choreographed with them. Once we finally get out in front of an audience, people who are like-minded, they kneel down to us. It's kind of a manifestation of that battle with seeing some success. That's cool. So yeah, we'll definitely get into that video over on Patreon. All right, let's take a look through the lyrics. They say, stay in your lane, boy. It's interesting because it's almost like lane boy, like stay in your lane, boy. Now, it does have the comma here, but what I was going to say, it's almost kind of a double here. Not that he is a lane boy, but almost like they would call him lane boy. Does that make sense? Stay in your lane, boy, lane boy. But he's not a lane boy. But we go where we want to. They think this thing is a highway, but will they be alive tomorrow? That's interesting. Before I click on here to try to see what they said about it, because I was curious about this line in the song. I also mentioned Spaghetti Junction. Let me see if I can get a good picture of Spaghetti Junction. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Working out something, something, something. If you're old enough to remember... Oh, crap, I forgot what it's called. No, conjunction, junction. I typed Spaghetti Junction again. Conjunction. Schoolhouse Rock. Any of you guys remember Schoolhouse Rock? Let's go. Okay. Spaghetti Junction. Let's get us... Okay, here we go. Spaghetti Junction. So this is kind of a thing in Atlanta with all these overlapping bridges and highways and stuff. So that's what I was thinking of, the difference between being a lane boy. So just like one straight highway, like you're going to do it this way. 21 Pilots reminds me more of Spaghetti Junction. Okay. This idea, will they be alive tomorrow, makes me think of there are people making decisions for them, or the temptation to let people make decisions for you for commercial success. That's like, not only will they actually be alive tomorrow, but like, will their opinion matter tomorrow type thing? Like, they're going to keep going, but are these people that are speaking in and telling them they should go a certain way, like, are they even going to be around? Let's see what the annotation says. The highway's a metaphor. Yeah, we know that. But will they be alive tomorrow could refer to pop music and how many popular radio songs die out after a short moment of fame while more meaningful songs live forever. That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think just because they keeps referring like to the executives in essence, I feel like they still applies there. So I like the idea of like, will those songs be alive tomorrow? But I don't know. To me, it speaks more to this idea of, will their opinion really matter tomorrow? Like, what if they're gone tomorrow? They think this thing's a highway. If it was our way, we'd have a tempo change every other time change. And I wonder, is he pushing back against the label here? What are the credits on this song? So Tyler wrote it because somebody had said there was a lot more producing. Let's take a look for a second. Let's go to Vessel. We can just, pick any song. Who has the producing credits? It's Tyler, right? Okay, Greg Wells and Tyler Joseph. Okay, what about... Okay, it's up here. So Greg Wells and Tyler Joseph worked a lot together. What happened to Greg Wells? Because somebody was saying that some of the producing was taken out of Tyler's hands for Blurryface, so I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, this only has Ricky Reed on here. Did he produce the entire entire album? Looks like it. So I don't ultimately know how that plays out in the industry, but it's kind of interesting if somebody else is producing the record and Tyler is feeling this creative like tension. You know, it's it's pretty bold to write a song like this if you're kind of speaking against that. But I don't know what the relationship with was like, if it was positive or negative or whatnot. So if you have any insight, let me know in the comments. Because our minds change on what we think is good. I wasn't raised in the hood, but I know a thing or two about pain and darkness. That's interesting. If it wasn't for this music, I don't know how I would have fought this. Regardless, all these songs I'm hearing are so heartless. And is he being critical of it? Because he is critical of himself. So honest, there's a few songs on this record that feel common. So I wonder if he's even speaking here, regardless, all these songs I'm hearing are so heartless, if he's speaking of his own or if he's just speaking of industry stuff, period. Yeah, this says he's talking about mainstream. Same here. Don't trust a perfect person and don't trust a song that's flawless. Very cool. Let's see what he has to say about this. Tyler knows that a couple of the songs on the album feel mainstream. It's no coincidence that this song directly follows Tear in My Heart, a song many thought seemed tailored to the masses, and Tyler doesn't feel comfortable with these types of labels. He wants to make good music that people will like, but he also wants it to be his own unique piece of art. Yes. I'm in constant confrontation with what I want and what is poppin'. In the industry, it seems to me that singles on the radio are currency. My creativity's only free when I'm playing shows. The artist feel more free when just performing to their fans, as they're not pressured about sales or numbers. They're just letting go and sharing with us. Which is why they've gained such a loyal following. They say stay in your lane, boy, but we go where we want to, okay? I'm sorry if that question I asked last scared you a bit like a hazmat and a gas mask. If you ask Zach, he's my brother, he likes when I rap fast. Man, all I can feel is, you know, that he's had to be in rooms where people are like, yeah, it's really cool what you did here, but like for this one or for this record, I think if you slow it down, people will be able to hear it better. And then, it'll just, more people will want to listen to it, or it just sounds better. It kind of sounds weird when you do it this way. That's such a hard place to be in, man, because you want to stay true to yourself, but you also do want to be successful, especially if you want to make a living doing it, because you have those two things. Like, being able to be paid gives you the freedom to create, but if getting paid also robs your freedom or your creativity, it's a very challenging road to walk, I can imagine. And we all walk those roads in different forms and fashions, But let's backtrack back to this. Who would you live and die for on that list? That's cool. That's from a previous song. But the problem is there's another list that exists, and no one really wants to think about this. Forget sanity, forget salary, forget vanity, my morality. If you get in between someone I love and me, you're going to feel the heat of my cavalry. All these songs I'm hearing are so heartless. Wow. I wonder what it says about this list. If one list, the one mentioned in Ride, is a list of people Tyler would take a bullet for, then it makes sense that the other list is for the people whom Tyler would like to put a bullet. Okay. Metaphorically speaking, of course, this further reinforces the album's themes of duality and polarization. Separate parts of Tyler wanted two opposite things, peace and violence. Considering the artist's religious background, this could also be referring to the Book of Life. Okay, and then we get the repeating chorus. And some drum solos. Wow. Really interesting song. Interesting thoughts. And hopefully, along the way, maybe we'll find some interviews and things if Tyler's opened up about this album and this season of life. Because from what you guys had said, let's see. Is the next album, is it the Fire and Ice one? Or not Fire and Ice? I don't know why I always say that. Let me hop over here and look. Here, I think I can bring you guys in on this too. No, okay, Trench is next. I know a lot of people are really excited for Trench, which makes me wonder. Let's look at some of the production notes. Okay, we get a guy named Paul Meany in on this one. Hopefully Paul Meany is a nicey. Okay, so Paul Meany worked with him, it looks like, pretty much through that whole album. Okay. Well, very cool. Thanks for joining me for this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.